Okay, so it's Cat Stanley Space Demon coming at you again, and today Ace Frehley was laid to rest in his native, the Bronx, New York. Peter Chris, Paul Stanley, and Gene Simmons attended, which is nice that they were all able to attend. And you know, when Ace passed, I managed to keep it together for the most part. You know, I never really broke down. I kind of, I made that video where I kind of put my own spin on it. The whole, well, Ace had a good run. You know, he lived it up. He died with his boots on and all that stuff. But, you know, a few days ago, I was listening to Eddie Trunk, Ace's good buddy. He's a radio DJ now. He's on XM, Sirius, or satellite, or whatever they call it now, radio. I think he worked for Megaforce Records. He was the one who signed Frehley's Comet when Ace was down and out, so they were pretty close. And Eddie did an emotional tribute to Ace on his show, which carried on, I believe, for several days. He had a bunch of people on there. He took a bunch of calls. He had a couple of the guys from Anthrax, and I listened to some of it. And he had
Number Johnny 5
from Motley Crue, the guy that replaced Mick Mars. And incidentally, he's from Detroit, Rock City, by the way, Grosse Pointe. And I was never a big Marilyn Manson fan or Rob Zombie, White Zombie fan. The guys, so I didn't know a lot about
Number Johnny 5.
But I guess he was the guy at the time. He was John Lowry, who played on the DLR Band album, David Lee Roth's 1998 album that he made, which I always was a fan of. Interesting things they had to say.
Number Johnny 5.
I want to play a clip that he said about Ace Frehley, which really bummed me out, man, when I heard him say this. Let's listen to the clip, and then we'll talk about it coming out of the break.
Just thinking back, everybody's very sad, but then you think back of all the fun stories and all the funny stories. But one of the very last times I talked to him was not, it was right before his first fall. And we were talking, and what he said, he was so happy. He was so excited about the Kennedy Center honors.
Yes.
He was just so over the moon about this. And what he told me is he was so excited that the president said his name and said it correctly.
Yeah.
And he was at this point of his life, he was over the moon. He was so happy. And that's, I think, something really, really important.
Well, John, I heard from somebody. I have a friend that works for Kennedy Center, and he contacted me, one of the many people that reached out to me yesterday. And he said to me, this is tragic, but don't worry, we're going to well represent your guy. And I think all of us on the phone you guys all on the phone can attest to the fact that, and I don't care where you're, as I said, I don't do politics on this show. I don't care where you're at politically. I don't care who the president would be. KISS getting in a Kennedy Center is friggin' cool as hell. And for me, I was super excited, and I'm sure all of you guys too, at the thought that we would see the original four all in the same room together, standing shoulder to shoulder again. I mean, and tragically now we're not going to have that. But yeah, that was something I know he was super, super excited about.
So there you go, man. This really bummed me out when I heard about this. Ace was so excited about KISS and the Kennedy Center honors coming up on December 7th. And, I thought for some reason the Kennedy Center honors, I was thinking this was like a PBS deal or something. But this is network, man. This is CBS broadcasting. KISS was going to be honored along with Sly Stallone and a few other people. And your Ace was all excited about this because, when KISS made the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, it took them a long time to get in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. and I have my own feelings about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It took Kiss a long time to get in there. After years of lobbying from the Kiss army, they finally got Kiss in there. But you know, there's a lot of people still not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I've got very little respect for that place as an institution. You know, Ted Nugent, Phil Collins, the Monkees, Jay Giles Band, Bad Company, among others, still not in the so-called Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I call it the Rock and Roll Hall of Lame. But when Kiss got in there, you know, that's a pretty big deal. But the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is it encompasses strictly the pop music, rock and roll music realm, you know, but something like the Kennedy Center Honors, which is a network television deal, which is kind of something that encompasses all of the performing arts, you know, a lot of different people, from guys like Fred Astaire, you know, stand-up comics like Bill Cosby, people from all kinds of walks of show business, you know, Broadway show people, tunesmiths and that. You know, Kiss was going to be front and center, and it really bums me out because, you know, Ace said the whole thing about he was so excited that the president said his name right, which is kind of funny because Eddie Trunk still calls him Frehley. So Trump knows Ace's name better than his good buddy Eddie Trunk. And, you know, Ace was a Trump guy. This isn't a political channel, and regardless of where you fall on the political spectrum, I believe everyone's entitled to their own political views. And Ace was a Trump guy, and this was very exciting for him to be not only inducted into this Kennedy Center Honors by the president.
Dinner with the president? Dinner with the president. Dinner with the president.
Someone who he supported, and the fact that he was so excited that Trump said his name correctly and that Kiss were going into this thing, and for him not to make it to the show, that was, I don't know, that really bummed me out when I heard about that. I really felt sad for Ace, Ace's family, everybody in the Kiss army, that we weren't able to see Ace enjoy this induction ceremony, to watch it on TV and see him be a part of the original four all in the same room together. This really bummed me out, man. And I just wanted to touch on this today. And it really kind of, I was dealing with the Ace Frehley, losing Ace. You know, like I said, I put my own spin on it, you know, as I want to do. Like, hey, he went out with his boots on. He lived it up his whole life. But then this just really hit me again when I heard this. Really bummed me out that Ace is going to miss this Kennedy Center Honors. It's still going to be a cool thing to watch. You know, it's still going to be special to see Kiss get their day in this ceremony. But it's going to be very bittersweet not to have Ace there, especially knowing how much he really was looking forward to this thing. It really is a shame, and it is really tragic that he wasn't able to make it. But that's the video. Hope you guys dug it, and we'll see you next time.
Stanley the One-Eared Monster. Stanley the One-Eared Monster.
Here.